Hi. They say in Africa, we just don't adopt technology. We are the builders of it now. And today, Ghana is shaping the conversation from what we can build and how we connect it all. I am right here at the 3i Africa Summit 2026. My name is Obed, and shortly we'll be getting into interesting conversations with some key holders, founders, and people who are doing very well in the fintech ecosystem to find out what this transformation really means to them. Let's get into the conversation.
So my name is Eko Kwanzi. I head the PR department at Global Media Alliance, one of the biggest PR agencies in Ghana. Yeah.
Nice. So we are talking about AI and fintech digital inclusion. How excited are you with this conversation, and what are you looking forward to?
I must say that I've been to I was at the first 3i Summit.
Okay.
Amazing. This is also like a 2.0, very amazing. And I love the fact that we are bringing a conversation on AI and fintech to the policy level of things where, you can see how the Bank of Ghana has been very integral in this conversation, which is good because, if you look at the history of fintech and how it came up and AI, it's more about young people trying to use technology to make things a bit easier for them.
Yeah.
And you know how it's difficult for the older folks to jump on board. They want to wait and see, okay, what's next before.
Yeah.
But looking at this, it's been amazing. And we have no option because if you look at how the world is going, AI is taking over a lot of things.
Exactly.
So we have to be intentional, be drivers of it, and not sit down and wait. So I'm really happy and excited for this summit.
All right. So in your submission, you mentioned that the youth are embracing AI, which is a very positive plus for us. But do you think we are doing well enough to be able to make sure that fintech reaches the people in the rural communities?
Well, fintech reaching rural communities also comes with infrastructure. And infrastructure here, fiber optic cables and smartphones and, getting people to a certain standard where they can be included in their whole ecosystem.
Okay.
Right? So for young people, for instance, it offers us a very good opportunity to leverage fintech and digital, and how we have to reach the rural folks, as I said, comes with infrastructure. The government needs to open up the space in terms of infrastructure, getting more investment.
Okay.
It's very difficult for the start and it's capital intensive. But when that is done, we know how important that sort of inclusion would have on the fintech ecosystem. Take mobile money, for instance.
Okay.
I remember when MTN started mobile money. That's like over 10 years ago. Not everybody understood, what's all this? I want to see my cash in my hand, not like money being spent or sent through their mobile phone. I'm not seeing the money, so I'm not feeling it, right?
Exactly.
But they knew what it was about. Now look at Momo now. Now, if somebody needs to send you money, you prefer the Momo than even your bank account.
Exactly.
So it takes a bit of time. When you start, it's more of like a social development course that you are taking. And when it picks up, we all witness the capital value of the ecosystem.
All right. So what last thing do you have to tell us with regards to what we need to do to better this conversation?
I was happy when I was listening to the governor yesterday, Dr. Handit, right? And the other people on the session on how, for instance, they are seeing some good collaboration between Ghana and Tanzania and other countries in terms of how to see the kind of digital platform payment that if you're in Accra, you can send money to Tanzania or through a certain platform. So for me, I am thinking that since this is 2.0, sure that there will be a lot more collaborations, a lot more partnership, and a lot more MOUs being signed on how we can do cross-border payments. Because if we look at how we do trade in Africa, for instance, one of the biggest challenges has always been a single payment platform. I know, for instance, perhaps is on the Pan-African payment systems and all those things. But, that's more on the higher level. I always say it's more of bank accounts level of things. But I want to send money through from the mobile phone straight to my partner in Tanzania. He or she will receive it on the mobile phone, just like that, like very instant. I've seen the notification, business is flowing. So for that, that's what I really want to see. And I'm hopeful that since we've seen the integral of the Bank of Ghana gives and other stakeholders in this conversation, I'm hoping that it would really happen.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for helping us understand and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
My name is Tarianne King. I am an international law firm, Global Esquire, specializing in U.S. securities and compliance law. I really help African tech founders who are interested in fundraising in the United States, helping them navigate that securities and exchange compliance that they are obligated to follow. And so regulation, the marketing, ADV forms, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So this is the 3i Africa Summit. What excites you most about this year's sessions?
I think to be able to hear from founders and to understand the broader ecosystem. So for me, I'm coming more so from the legal compliance and regulation perspective. And so that's my world. That's where I hear all about the different regulations, the SEC. But I am passionate about entrepreneurship in Africa. And so I think for me, I love when I have the opportunity to hear about what else do they have going on? What else are you up against? And so when we're talking about payments or exchange, and so it's nice just to be in a room with people who are not only attorneys, founders, regulators, et cetera. So it's more diverse and then also in Africa, which is very different from how the narrative is if it was a conference in America.
Okay. So I'm going to take it from the perspective of you being a woman.
Yeah.
So do you think the women in the fintech ecosystem being given equal opportunities as the men to fully work with equal power?
So this is what I would say. I would think my disclosure said I'm American. I'm Black American. Mm-hmm. And for me, I don't think not only in the tech sector, in the legal sector, I think in all sectors across Africa, sometimes I find that it's really hard to find women in the area. Sometimes you can try to go out your way to be able to find women, and it can be difficult. And so even, for example, I'm based in Senegal, right?
Okay.
And sometimes when I'm trying to find founders, I would love to work with women founders because I'm offering kind of like these pro bono, low bono legal services to help them enter the American market. And so as a woman, it's not that I discriminate. It's just that I would love to help women founders, but they're not always at the front. Sometimes I really, really have to dig, but what's readily available are male founders, but I don't think I really understand as an American, the why that is. I can just say from personal experience, it kind of takes a lot to find them. So I think visibility, I would say is something that is an issue, but I don't know why.
What do you think are we not doing right with regards to this? And what do you think can be kept perfectly to make sure that women are visible when it comes to fintech or digital economy?
Well, I don't know if I'm in a good place really to be able to speak to that because like I said, when I think of all the fintech companies, when I think of all the founders that I know, I think I can only really think of 2 female Nigerian founders who I have worked with. And I think for the why, it makes me think about what does access look like, right? How are men able to get into the rooms when it comes to investors? Because going back to visibility, especially in this digital age, it takes a budget. You have to have money, right? And so a lot of even like events, So if you have a conference that will have investors, those are usually paid tickets. And when you want to be in the room with investors, that can also be something that comes with a different price point. And so I'm not sure, but I just feel that maybe there's an issue with excess.
Okay.
But I don't really understand it though, because I would say that those female founded companies also excel just as well. They're doing really, really good. So it's not that they cannot afford the ticket to be in the room, but nevertheless, there's still an issue of visibility and why they are not in the room. I mean, even if we look at the demographics of who are here today, every time when I look at the name tag, a lot of the founders, so you'll see like whatever tag in is founder, but most of them are men. And so even in a place like Ghana, right, it's just kind of like, oh, wow. So those male founders, they made their way here. Did the women, how did they miss the opportunity? How did they miss the communication? And that's what I don't know. But I hope you guys solve it, because they're who, at least for the pro bono program that I'm offering for those founders, it's geared towards females. And it's a different issue, I would say, when it comes to the US component, to the Africa component. And so I have all of these statistics and data on the US side to be able to support and show why I'm offering my services to women, why I'm backing that. But the Africa component is a bit different.
Okay. So what would be your last words to every woman out there who is trying to get into the space, but they are afraid?
Don't be afraid. Get out there, and I think just know that it's possible. Gender, don't be in your head too much. Put yourself out there and don't shoot your own self down. Like, the worst thing that someone can say is no. Get into those rooms. And so I think what I would say, especially as an American, is get into those rooms, because you have people like me, even on the last panel, you have Americans who are looking for people to invest in, looking for people who they want to support, but you have to be in the room. And even if that means spending a bit more time to figuring out, like creating a list, hey, these are the conferences that happens yearly. Which ones do I have access to? Because again, this conference, it was not in London, it's in Ghana. So you don't have that immigration component to, oh, they had to get the visa. No. Oh, they had to get the plane ticket. No. It's in Ghana. And so if you have these type of opportunities, come and network. No matter what, make it happen. Get yourself in the room. And work the room, speak, let people know who you are. Even if it's a venture that you just started yesterday, small scale, own it as if it's $1 million company.
No matter what, make it happen, says King.
Yeah.
Thank you for having.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure. Hi, we are still at the 3i Africa Summit 2026, and I call it the Command Room. And at this moment, I'm here with two amazing, fine gentlemen who are doing so well in the fintech ecosystem. And I will be getting into a conversation with them. I have the privilege to know them. I know what they do, but for your sake, I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves to us and what they do, starting from you.
Hi, my name is Lord Stanley. An entrepreneur, started our own payment gateway platform. Currently, we're looking at bridging the gap between privacy and convenience when it comes to payments between mobile money and bank accounts and other forms of interoperable payment, making it easier and safer for everyone to use.
All right. How about you?
Yeah, so my name is Kazim David, and I'm building Caprex Technologies. So Caprex basically allows people make cross-border payments over stablecoin rails. So we allow people to receive money from anywhere in the world and also send out money, whether from crypto or from fiat, across multiple corridors in Africa and across the world.
Right. So I would like to know, so far, what are your have your expectations for the event been met already, or you are still looking forward?
So far, I think there's a lot of things I've had to take note of. In terms of our space, the space that we're currently in, I think there's been a lot of conversations very relevant to us. Yesterday, some of the conversations around cross-border payments and trying to find a way to bridge the gap between the market woman in Makola and, the challenges that she would face trying to make payments from here and there have been very useful. But I think there's also a lot more that needs to be done beyond the conversations so far.
Right. How about you? What are you so excited about?
So for me, the most important aspect of this kind of event is getting into the room with the regulators. You understand? We are in a very, very regulated space, and you can't just walk into the Bank of Ghana to ask them questions. But over here, you get to meet them, you get to ask questions, and you get to get the direction of where you should actually take your business. So for me, that's what I'm mostly interested in. Talk to people in the space and also talk to the regulators of the space. It's a good thing to just do.
Okay, so there's something I would really want you to help us understand. This goes to David.
Yeah.
Mobile money is improving in Africa, it's no doubt, but so is fraud. So how do you think young startups like ourselves can work collaboratively to be able to move fraud out of the system? Or is there something we are not doing right ourselves that is making fraud a rampant case now?
Yeah. So to answer the question, I'll still go back to the fact that this kind of events are very, very important, because when you look at the issue of fraud, what happens mostly is people are trying to maybe find a solution to, like, maybe, let's say, speed, or maybe trying to get the most for themselves. You understand? So that's where the problem of fraud comes from. When things seem good to be true, they say it's usually not true. You understand? So regulators like the Bank of Ghana needs to make things actually seamless for people to do, so they don't go through corners where they can actually lose their fund. So that's, like, I think that's the major problem we face when it comes to fraud. Everything has to be clear enough, simple enough for people to use, so they don't fall into the hands of these fraudsters. Yeah.
How about you? Do you think the industry is not doing something right?
I think there's a lot of things to take away. For example, with what we're trying to build at Chartech, which is the name of our startup, we believe that privacy is the biggest step in fraud prevention. If you can avoid giving out certain information, if you can educate people on what to do, what not to do, and like he said, there's a lot of regulators here. Through my conversations and the introductions, I've been able to speak to some of the people at Gig, some of the people at Mobile Money. And I think the common denominator that we've come to realize is there's a lot of people who are trying to solve the problems, but are not going about it the right way. There's a lot of solutions to fraud, but then they may be lacking in this area, or they may be lacking in this area. So I think first off, it should be encouraged, because, for example, with the bigger firms and stuff, for example, MTN, there's already so much that they are trying to do, and then obviously people are creative. They will find ways to segment their security protocols and stuff. Having independent creators and businesses also involve themselves in the safety of our people is one important thing that I feel like regulators have begun to, at least from our conversations, they've begun to allow other fintechs, and they encourage more people to get into the space, privacy, protection, and safety when it comes to digital.
Okay, so this is quite interesting. So I would like to find out something. What are some of the challenges, the critical challenges you have faced since you started your company, and have you been able to solve them, or they are still on the pipeline waiting for answers to be able to help you solve this?
I think some of the biggest challenges have been getting in the room to speak to the right people and getting the opportunity to get the approvals that you may need for certain things. For example, a lot of our work has to do with BOG or some of these telcos. So MTN, here and there. Sometimes you'll try and get into a room and it'll delay. But I feel like when you have opportunities to speak on things like this or attend events like this, you manage to put yourself in groups with some of these people who can actually help you to get over that. But I do think it could be a lot easier for fintechs and, startups and smaller businesses to, to be able to have these conversations.
Okay, so I want to know how long have you started your company?
Yeah, so actual from registration, we registered as a Ghanaian entity in February 2025. It's been a lot of testing, a lot of we work with a lot of partners, so putting the partners together to be able to come up with a product that works for the people. It took us a while. We are still in beta. We launched our beta in November 2025, and currently our beta consists of about 50 users across individuals and businesses. And between November and now, we've processed over $2.7 million in volume. So, pretty much it's been good.
Okay, so have there been times where you felt like this is not the best decision to take?
Oh, it comes every day. Every day you look at it, but at the end of the day, you just have to keep showing up. They say, like, as long as you keep moving, you definitely meet what works for you. So
there have been times you really want to give up, but you are still pushing.
Yeah, you have to push.
So this will be your last words. I would like you to talk to every young boy out there who is trying to build innovative things like you are doing, who are at the pit of trying to give up. What do you have to tell them?
So for that, I'll just tell you, don't give up. Just keep going. Keep showing up. One day it would all make sense. You understand? So like basically that's just it. Yeah.
One day it will all make sense. How about you? What's your last words to encourage a broken young man who is trying to make it out there?
If you have an idea, work on it, research it. Don't just leave the idea as it is. Research it. Do your due diligence and talk to people who can help you make it happen. I know people are scared of maybe people taking the ideas and running with it. But if you also don't talk to anyone, you may not have the means to do it yourself.
All right. Thank you very much. And it was nice having you.
Yeah, it was nice.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.